your boy, Storm the Beast, back again, and today we're going to be talking about this very strange furry, so let's get straight into the video. I think we all know that furries can, be a bit, strange at times, and they are known for, being stereotypical Twitter users, and as Twitter users, they often have bad takes. I found a furry who not only defends child labor and encourages child labor, but also defends pedophilia. So, I'm honestly not surprised. I'm just disappointed in society. I don't mean to be like society, but like this is why I think these people should die, and I know that's an awful thing to say. But I think I want to turn these people's fursuits into fur carpets. Alright, so let's take a look at this video. So it's some dude who thinks he's some sort of dragon. Newsflash, dragons don't exist. And he's also a furry. He thinks that we should bring back child labor. So let's see what his points are.
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but hear me out on this one. Our society would benefit enormously from bringing back child labor. If you don't know what that is, during the Industrial Revolution, many manual labor jobs were replaced by machines. Those jobs didn't require heavy lifting, and
weren't they like super dangerous though, and a lot of people died? And weren't the conditions terrible too? And when they made children work in those things, didn't a bunch of children die too? You basically are sending children off to their deaths. Like, seriously, bro? Alright, whatever.
Machines were simple enough to operate even by children. Children typically were cheaper to hire, so doing so became common practice. Now, due to some constitutional thing, child labor was outlawed in the 1930s, and I think this is what really started America on its downward spiral.
Yes, the 1930s where we banned child labor, that's what sent America down its downward spiral. Yes, great points, definitely very intelligent. Yeah, no, guys, it's definitely in the 1930s when we got rid of child labor, that America went down. I can't say that with a straight face.
It became cheaper for companies to manufacture their products in other countries where child labor was still cheap and legal, which is what we still do today. If we were to bring child labor back to the United States, companies would be able to afford making things here instead. Why should Chinese children be profiting off of us when we could just hire a...
Yeah, no, the Chinese children aren't profiting off us. They're basically slaves, I think. Like, I'm pretty sure that they're essentially slaves, and that the conditions over there are terrible. Yeah, but child labor definitely sounds like a very smart idea. Let's definitely do child labor. That sounds so smart, you know. Definitely nothing bad's gonna happen from that, you know. Like, totally, I completely agree. That was sarcasm.
American children to do the same thing. Not only would it give them jobs, but it would lower prices of various goods for us and increase our nation's GDP.
Against furries, I'm a racist against furries. I hate furries. Like if there's a KKK, but if it's just, okay, that's a little too far. That's a little too far. But if there's like a, okay, so maybe not an anti-furry KKK, because the KKK was bad, but like, maybe violence is bad. Violence is bad. YouTube, please don't I'm not even monetized. YouTube, don't strike down my channel, please. Violence is bad, but I mean, I'm not suggesting we do violence against this guy, but I mean, he's defending pedophiles, as we'll soon see. Which means he's probably one himself. And he's also a furry, which is a crime against humanity. I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting we do anything to him, but if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. That's your prerogative.
About 23% of the population of the US is under 18. That's a huge untapped workforce. People raise the argument, what about school?
Yeah, that's a fair point. You don't want kids being like, duh, what's 2 plus 2? I mean, yeah, like, school is, I don't like school, and the education system sucks, but it's better than working in a factory 12 hours a day and risking a lot of injury for, like, what? This guy's literally gonna argue that they should only be paid, like, 8 cents a day. This guy's an idiot.
Well, we already know our education system is broken.
It is broken, but doesn't mean we have to replace it with child labor. I mean, I'm sure our education system is much better than having child labor.
37% of Americans are functionally illiterate, so why even bother wasting 12 years of people's lives? Instead, get them started working early. By the time they're adults, they'll be masters in their craft. Not only will a nation save millions on education, but the government will be actually making money through taxes. President Trump talks about bringing industry back to America.
Okay. Here's where we get political. So I need to have a little chat. I don't usually like to bring up politics on this channel. Basically anything controversial I don't like really talking about. That's why I talk about kind of random stuff. However, this guy kind of looped politics into it, and I have to say, he's gonna... I'll just let him finish his point real quick, and then I'll give my own thoughts.
And I think legalizing child labor would be a huge step in that direction. We could incentivize companies to hire American children by price matching what they pay kids overseas. 9 is half of 18, so if 18-year-olds are making minimum wage, we could just pay 9-year-olds half. 4 to 5-year-olds would be making a quarter of minimum wage. I'm not exactly sure how all the math works out. We might need to go a little bit lower than that to price match, but...
Yeah, no wonder the furry doesn't know how math works. I mean, he doesn't even... Have fun, little kid. Go get him, Tiger. Sorry, I'll let him finish his point, and then I'll give my political thoughts.
They're kids. They don't know the value of money. We could also come...
Yes, kids don't know the value of money. That's kind of a broad brush to paint with. But okay. Oh, and now he's gonna get into gang violence. Okay, I should probably just wait until he finishes this point, and I'll give my political thoughts.
Come at this from the perspective that it would lower crime, specifically gang activity. It's estimated that about 2% of kids nationwide, that's about 1.5 million kids, are involved with gangs. If we could employ those kids instead, we could reduce those numbers significantly. I think this would be especially effective because a lot of those kids join gangs out of necessity. They come from poor families. So if we give them jobs, not only does it give them something to do, but it also increases household income.
This guy literally just said we're gonna pay kids less than minimum wage, and then said these kids can go out and support their families by working. If they're getting paid half of minimum wage, if you take into account inflation and the prices of food, that's probably maybe won't even cover gas. It might cover like half of the monthly gas bill. But it's not gonna help with food or rent or water, electricity, basic necessities. And where do you think they are? Do you think they just go to school? Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be racist here, but like, no, I mean, obviously, if they're involved in gangs and then they probably are skipping school because, if you have two things to do, right? Like, say you have to, and like, I don't blame these kids because, right, like, they come from poor families. Like, obviously, it's awful that they have to, join gangs to do this. But, like, say theoretically you were in this situation. Now, you either go to school while your family is out there kind of starving and suffering, or you do something a little bit illegal. It's like an ethics question. Would you steal a loaf of bread to feed your family? And I think that's kind of what this ties into here, is that they're not necessarily, like they're skipping school to steal a loaf of bread, but it's to, like, feed their family, and if they're getting paid less than minimum wage, they're probably going to be making, less than they would in the gang, so this wouldn't be helping whatsoever. And so his points just make absolutely no sense. Now, when we get back to the politics around President Trump, that's when I'll give my opinions on that, because I want him to finish his point, so I can just, give my full 2 cents.
I think the real crime here is that poor kids aren't allowed to work, to be honest. A third way to think about this is the effects it would have on unemployment. If we took the initiative to employ the 23% of the nation under 18, that unemployment percentage would be significantly lower, just due to the sheer amount of people who do have jobs by comparison. Now
okay, I don't think that's how it works, right? Because I don't think, people who are not legally allowed to work count as part of the unemployment percentage, right? It's basic math. I'm not great at math, but, like, say you have 100, right? And so you have 100 people, and 37 of them are unemployed. Now, say you have another 100 kids, you add the 100 kids into the group, and 37 of them don't work and the rest of them work, right? It's still going to be the same percentage. And plus, most of these kids probably, the parents would be like, no, I'm not sending you off to a factory, little Timmy. No, you're going to get hurt because, they don't want their children to die in a factory when they're like 5 years old. And they're going to be like, no, I'm not going to let you go off to the factory. So if we allow child labor, that would make the population under, legal working age, which is like 16 in most places. Most of them would still be unemployed, so it would actually raise the unemployment rate, if you think about it. Because even if you theoretically, like, say, the same amount of kids, there's the same proportion of kids that work to kids that don't work as to adults that work to adults that don't work, right? That's not going to be much change, considering that, number one, under 18, under legal working age is only like 30% of the population, and number two, it's still the same number, so the percentages are going to be pretty similar. But considering that there are parents who actually care for their kids and are like, no, I'm not gonna let you die in a factory, 5-year-old little Timmy, it's gonna raise the unemployment rate, so this guy's just an idiot.
There has been some concern over the safety of the children. Back in the Industrial Revolution, there was an issue where kids were often hired to clean or repair large machines because they were...
See, this is what I've been talking about, the dangers and safety stuff, but, whatever. I'm just a soon-to-be freshman. What do I know, right? I probably know more than a furry, because furries are idiots. Everyone knows that. It's a basic fact of life. Furries have the smaller IQ than someone who has a small IQ.
Were the only people small enough to fit inside them. This led to numerous kids getting mauled by the machines. It wasn't entirely uncommon for them to lose limbs. This is a legitimate concern, because on top of just working in factories, kids are useful for cleaning out ventilation shafts and things of that nature. And it's understandable that there are some safety concerns.
Yes, there are. You're gonna send small children into ventilation shafts, like the John McClane from Die Hard, trying to hide from Hans Gruber. Like, no. I like Die Hard.
But technology has advanced quite a bit since then, at least.
Okay, so this is one of his dumbest points, and so you need to watch this. COVID. You need to watch this because it's funny how dumb it is.
In the US, robotic prosthetics are becoming more and more advanced as well as affordable. It won't be long until robotic prosthetics are seen as better than the limbs you were born with. In the near future, it won't be uncommon to see people having limbs removed purposefully in order to benefit from the advantages robotic prosthetics can give. I think it's fairly safe to say that kids love robot limbs. Full Metal Alchemist, for example, is one of the top-rated anime of all time, and one of the main quirks from that.
Okay, so one of this guy's main points was, let's not waste money on education and just throw 5-year-olds in the factories. And then he goes like, but let's spend millions of dollars to give kids robot arms so they can look like their favorite anime characters. I'm sorry, this is just too funny. And you stop to realize people like this actually exist. People who think these things like actually exist. I don't know if this guy's trolling or not. If he is a troll, then he's a genius. But considering that he's a furry, I don't think he's a troll. And there are probably people who actually agree with this dude, and that, yeah, let's give kids robot arms. Let's give 5-year-olds robot arms so they can look like their favorite anime character and throw them in factories. Like literal 5-year-olds can barely comprehend 2 plus 2, and you're gonna send them in, working on dangerous machines and ventilation shafts, trying to kill Hans Gruber like John McClane. And there's gonna be a few Die Hard references because after we made that venting Among Us, sorry, I had to, but no, there's gonna be quite a few Die Hard references because I don't know, it's just funny if I make them. So
that universe that people like is the automail. Ask any kid if he would like to have an automail arm, and I'm sure he would tell you yes. It just seems like common sense.
I'm going to be a freshman in the fall, and no. Technically I am a child, and no, I would not like a robot arm. I prefer, my regular skin and bones, because, the robot arm just would probably feel heavy on my shoulders or something. I don't want a robot arm. I just like my normal arms. This guy's an idiot.
To me. In closing, the reasons to bring back child labor are pretty compelling. I think it should really be taken into consideration. Plenty of countries are doing it and it's working great for them. I think it's time that America...
Isn't China like a communist state? Like literally people are so unhappy there that they have to send them to multi-generational re-education camps, and they have to censor the media to make sure that people's unhappiness isn't voiced. Yes, they sound like they're doing well, and I can imagine like child labor would be part of the general just resentment of the government in China, because not only is it a communist state, it's a communist state that's like crushing people's rights and stuff and sending 5-year-olds off to labor camps. And I can't imagine people would be happy with this. And so this guy is just an idiot, but he's going to bring up politics, and I'm going to have a really serious talk about that, because politics are not something I like to usually discuss on this channel, and so I'm going to have to be very careful so I don't get canceled, people don't get mad at me. Right.
That steps up. I've gone ahead and created a change.org petition. Maybe if we can get 100,000 signatures, we can bring...
But what's a change.org petition gonna do? Who cares about the change.org petitions? I signed a change.org petition once to for something to do with Pokemon or something, and I don't even remember, but something about Pokemon cards. I don't even what kind of idiot will sign this?
Bring it to President Trump's attention.
One has signed. Let's get it to 100. Only one guy. That's honestly really sad.
I feel like he's the right person for this, someone who I know would really listen to it, and that's why I support him. And if you want to support me in what I do, I have a Patreon. For
Yeah, I will not be supporting your Patreon. Okay, so he supports President Trump because he feels that Trump will bring back child labor. No. He won't, because, he has a brain, unlike you. And so this guy's, like, entire political platform is that he supports Trump because he thinks Trump will bring back child labor. But, I don't think anyone listens to Furry's opinions, because I think just everyone knows that Furries have bad opinions. So, yeah. So that's basically that video. Now there's another one where he defends pedophiles. I have not seen the pedophile video yet. So, just get into it, right? Yeah.
Pedophilia pisses me off because it's one of those topics that you can't even talk about. If you make any kind of comment that sounds remotely like you don't absolutely despise pedophiles, then everyone's knee-jerk reaction is to call you a pedophile by association.
Yeah, because, you most likely are a pedophile. Just saying.
So you have to preface every single sentence with, "I don't find kids attractive," and "I don't support pedophiles," just so people will listen to you. But I've said before that I'm not attracted to humans, period.
Great, this guy's a zoophile. What an absolute degenerate. This person has to be. Like, this guy's an absolute degenerate. You know, I don't think we should send 5-year-olds to the labor camps, but there's a special type of camp in Germany for people like this. I'm not a Nazi, but, send this guy to those kinds of camps, because, you know, I would send, who would I send to those camps? I would send Furries, Twitter users, and Dream Stands to those camps. And maybe anyone with an anime profile picture. Or BTS stands.
Period. And I assume that people who watch my videos know that entertaining a thought does not mean that you necessarily agree with a thought. So there are several kinds of pedophilia.
This guy looks like a stereotypical Discord mod. I mean, look at him. Look at his face. You can see he's like, oh my, oh,
pedophiles. There are pedophiles which are people attracted to young kids.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You're not a monster. I think you are a monster. You definitely look like one. But, yeah.
Kids, such as a 30-year-old wanting to have sex with an 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's just creepy. Like, genuinely, those people are just degenerates, and so is this guy.
There are child molesters who are 30-year-olds who actually do have sex with 8-year-olds. And then there are pedophiles by technicality, which is something like a 20-year-old wanting to have sex with a 16-year-old. And this is also called ephebophilia. What irks me about our society is that it doesn't matter which one of these you are. It doesn't matter if you actually commit the crime, because even if you think about it, you are still seen as just as bad. Now, I have nothing to say in defense of child molesters. They are weak people and have irreparably damaged another human.
Well, at least he hates child molesters, so at least he's not, you know, defending child molesters. But this guy is probably one of those people who's like, it's time to end the age of consent! I am hashtag map friendly! Kill me.
I don't see them as any different than rapists. But for those who simply have the thought of being attracted to kids, I have sympathy for.
Really, if anyone has the thought of that, if a 30-year-old has that thought, then, you know, if they have issues and they're also a degenerate? Like, pedophiles in general just suck?
Because sexuality isn't a choice. It's something that is part of you and you can't get rid of.
Being a pedophile is not a sexuality. I'm losing brain cells watching this very video. I don't know if I can do this. I hate furries.
And there are no real options for people who are attracted to kids. You have to keep.
Yeah! Because they're attracted to 8-year-olds. There shouldn't be options for them.
Keep it to yourself for fear of society branding you as a child molester, or fear of being on some kind of watch list for a crime that you have never committed. And the way I see some people react to them sickens me more than the thought of pedophilia itself.
I honestly just have no words.
Because they are so harshly judged and hated, and rarely is that hatred about kids being hurt or exploited, or actual things that I could understand feeling hatred about.
Okay, I don't know where you're getting this, but usually because the reason people hate pedophiles is because they exploit children, such as, I don't know, sending them off to child. Does that sound? You're dragon furry idiot. No, the reason why most people hate pedophiles is because pedophiles are the worst, and they exploit children, basically, essentially R-word them, and I'm not going to say the word because, fear of YouTube, again, striking down my channel.
The hatred is because their sensibilities have been offended, and because it's socially acceptable to hate that person. And all for having—
It should be socially acceptable to hate pedophiles. I don't know what kind of crack this guy is on, but you should— kids, this is why you don't do drugs.
A thought and desires that they can't control. I've heard people say that pedophiles deserve to be tortured and killed. Now, I don't believe in the death sentence, even for mass murderers.
Yeah, the death sentence is wrong, right? Like, every human life is valuable, no matter what they did. Every human life still has the capacity for good. I do believe that. And, you know, it's no one's right to take a human's life, no matter what they did. However, I make an exception for furries. I'm gonna find where this guy lives.
Much less for a person who has not even committed a crime. In the case of pedophiles by technicality, that is someone like a 20-year-old having sex with a 16-year-old, I find the reactions of people even more disturbing. Because, once again, it is people holding the law as a moral authority.
Okay, here's the thing. This is why age of consent is important, because in certain states, age of consent is 16, in other states it's 18, right? But in a lot of places it's 16, so that's technically not pedophilia. Also in Texas, there's something called the Romeo and Juliet law, which basically means if they started dating while they were still minors, they're allowed to continue their, let's just call it a relationship, for lack of a more YouTube safe term. You know. That kind of relationship. That's the. I hate that. Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's get back to this.
I certainly believe that you should follow laws, but not all laws should be taken as this divine voice. Not all laws are ethical or even make sense. Why does the law decide that a person becomes an adult at age 18? There is no magical leap of maturity because the sun has revolved around the planet exactly 18 times since they were born. Based on personal experience, I would say that between the ages of 16 and 22, most people I have met don't have drastic changes in their maturity level. The age of consent being 18 strikes me as odd. Shouldn't the age that you are allowed to have sex be based on when you reach sexual maturity? Why is it
There we go. Now he's bashing age of consent laws. Listen. An 8-year-old cannot consent no matter how much you want them to. Now, why don't, there's a fun place for people like you. It's called prison. Why don't you go there?
Considered such a moral crime and a sick thing to like a 16-year-old. Attractiveness and beauty standards are almost always measured by youth. Pornography distributors especially value youth, and the reason is because we have a natural drive and instinct to breed with those who are young and fertile. In some states, the legal age of consent is 16, and yet you're still viewed as some kind of sicko for being attracted to someone of that age because the general population thinks that 18 is the age of consent everywhere. In Japan, the age of consent is 13, which many Americans view as sick.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Now he's bringing that up. Yeah, this guy's a pedophile. Okay, I'm calling the police.
And twisted, but I'm sure the Japanese just see it as normal and consider Americans exceptional prudes. Now, why am I defending pedophiles? Well, the truth—
You know, my friend Chris Hansen from the FBI would like to have a talk to you. Chris Hansen is that guy, like, he's like some sort of TV personality or something that hunts pedophiles or something. I don't know. I guess it's just a meme, but please go to prison.
The truth is, it's not really about pedophiles. The hatred and stigma attached to pedophilia is just one example of a problem in our society. And that problem is people taking the letter of the law as an absolute moral authority, and at the same time hating anyone who so much as disagrees.
Okay, here's the thing. So my top 3 dream jobs should, number 1, obviously be YouTube. If not that, then a game dev. If not that, I would probably be part of the FBI and hunt down pedophiles, because pedophiles are the worst. But, so yeah, that's kind of my safety, like, that's my safety backup job, and then my main backup job is being a game dev, and then, my priorities, being a YouTuber. But there's like a minute left of this, and I just want to get through it, so.
With that divine voice of the law. You do not have to agree with me. You don't have to suddenly love people who have sexual fetishes that you find disgusting. But I think you should consider one thing. 150 years ago, it was considered disgusting for a white woman to like a black man. 50 years ago, it was considered disgusting and even a mental illness for a man to like another man. What happens when the law and social stigma isn't on your side? What if it—
Oh, now he's bringing race into this. Of course.
was considered a crime to be religious? That even if you don't practice this illegal activity, just having the thought of loving your God is considered disgusting and a mental illness? What if the perfectly consensual, legal pornography that you like is suddenly considered criminal and disgusting and devious by the government? What if suddenly you're
I don't know about you, but pornography is pretty gross, and I would not mind if the government illegalized it, because it's pretty nasty.
considered a disgusting and evil individual because of the color of your skin or your gender?
No, but you are a disgusting and evil individual if you're a furry, I'm just saying.
Once again, I do not ask that you suddenly love pedophiles. I don't ask that you tolerate crime. I suppose I just want people to feel some amount of understanding and compassion for those whose thoughts and desires don't line up with their own sensibilities. And maybe have some faith in others, that even though they may have unsavory desires, it does not mean that they will act on them. Thoughts and desires alone don't make you an evil person.
I can't take him seriously when he's looking at me like that. It's called characters looking at me like that, like, he looks like a first grade teacher when you eat all the crayons, like, and then he edits his video, like, so dramatic, like, dun 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 dun, like, Law and Order, dun dun, Okay, well, I think that's about all for today. There was another furry who defended racism. So, you know, if you want me to talk about that, I will. There was another furry who also bashed potty training, and I'm not kidding. So, furries just kind of suck. But thanks for watching, and I'm gonna go bleach my eyeballs. And with that, bye. Uh, what's up, boys? Most YouTubers do an end card. I'm too lazy for that, so I'm just doing a black screen. So, yeah, I've had Sweet Child of Mine stuck in my head mainly because of the new Thor movie. I'm pretty hyped for that. If you saw that and it was good, drop a comment down below. No spoilers though. There's some really weird just spots where there was no audio. I guess I'll have to get a better mic to fix that, but sorry about that. How did you like my editing, by the way? I edited the video all by myself. I'm pretty proud of that, and also, all the music in this was made by my friend, Way Too Cool, so check out his channel. It will be in the description. Again, thank you for watching, and I'm out here. Peace.